everyone will please rise for the pledge of the allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if you'll remain standing for the invocation, Don, would you like to?
Oh, sure. I would thank everyone for being tonight. I would thank the Lord for the health of everyone in this room. I would like to, everyone to, amen. How's that for a
Thank you very much. Impromptu.
Now can we ask for an adjournment?
Instant.
Is that a motion?
Motion on the floor.
Doug, would you please do our roll call, please?
Councilman Castleberry.
Here.
Councilman Weaver.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Rutledge. Here. Mayor Wright.
Here.
Councilman Stanford. Here. Councilman McDaniels. Here. You have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you, Doug. Okay, well, welcome everybody. We've got an unusually full house tonight, and I think it's all due to some swearing in of some officers that we have, and we want to welcome them to Coffee City. I know they're going to be a great asset to our city. So I want to thank you all for being here tonight to support them in their swearing in. And for anybody else that's here that is going to be presenting or having any comments. So with that said, moving on, item number 6 is consider an act on consent items 7 and 8. I'd like to make a clarification that we are not approving any EDC check registers or minutes because they did not meet to approve their prior minutes. So they need to meet, approve their minutes, and then we will act upon those. 7 and 8, approve the minutes from the Coffee City Council meeting January 13th, 2020, as written, and we do have a correction on those minutes. They say December 9th, 2019. If you'll please make a correction on that. And then also to approve the city check register for the month of January 2020, if anybody has any questions. Does anybody have any questions?
If no one has any questions, I would like to make a motion that we consider and act upon items 7 and 8. Approve them as written.
I'll second.
All in favor? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, number 9 is the swearing in of the police officers. Sandy, would you please do the honor?
Would you all come out over here and stand in front of everyone?
And due to the length of the drive, for some of them, they are excused to go as soon as the ceremony is over.
We have more.
I was like,
I signed in, everybody. Okay. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. Your right hand. You are the right. Okay. I,
Alicia Savage Rose,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
execute the duties
execute the duties
of the office
of the office
of Reserve Police Officer
of Reserve Police Officer
of the City of Coffee City,
of the City of Coffee City,
State of Texas,
State of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States and of this state and the charter and ordinances of this city. I furthermore solemnly swear that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered, or promised to pay, contributed, nor promised to contribute any money or valuable thing, or promised any public office or employment as a reward to secure my appointment. So help me God. Please sign the sheet. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Would you introduce each one of them to us?
Congratulations.
We'll know the faces to the names.
Yeah, have them turn around when we're.
Thank you.
Sign your names.
I think you did. Yeah.
Okay. Jim's gonna introduce you.
Okay.
This is Centron.
Joseph?
Don't go away, dude. Don't go away, I got
No,
something to say about you.
Okay. I didn't do it.
Yes, you did.
I thought we were supposed to be nice today.
Oh, we are. Oh.
This is Max Rose Franco.
Okay.
Very good, very good.
Hosea Espinoza. And Tasha Hume, right?
Thank you.
And Alicia Saxon.
I'm very proud. I've seen these officers when I've been here, seen them doing their due diligence and working very hard and contributing to whatever the chief has them doing. I know that they've been doing a lot of work. I wanted to take just a minute to, we've been working on a program for our outstanding warrants. And Centron has stepped up and has actually pulled a program together for us. We look to roll that out March. The chief can say more about that. But we look to roll that out. I'm very proud of that because it's been something that has needed some attention for quite some time. And he's going to walk that gauntlet with us, and he's going to take care of what needs to be taken care of. So I appreciate him stepping up in that regard. So thank y'all and welcome to Coffee City. We're very proud to have you.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on our agenda,
Can you give that to
well,
the
we
mayor?
might give them a few minutes. I don't know. Is our open forum. And it is the policy of Coffee City to have an open forum. And we are allowed, okay, to restrict open forum to the following. Open forum is limited to items currently on the agenda. Speakers must sign in 10 minutes before the beginning of the meeting. And speakers will be given approximately 3 minutes to speak. Now, I know we have some candidates in the audience that are not necessarily addressing items on the agenda, but would like to introduce themselves. So Jeff Cade.
My name's Jeff Cade. I've running for county commissioner precinct 4. I've lived in the county for 39 years. Owned several businesses in the past. Cade Building Materials, shot horses for 20 years. My wife and I now have RC Enterprises, feed store out of the east part of town right outside of Athens. I've volunteered many different ways for the county. I've been the beef cattle and the horse committee chairman. I've also been on the advisory committee. Served on the Go Texan Committee, Scholarship Committee. Raised over $500,000 for the youth of our county. I've also now served on the Texas Farm Bureau Board, and I've also served as a volunteer mediator at Dallas County Courthouse. I've got a business administration degree and also the mediation training from Abilene Christian. I believe that the business of the Commissioner's Court is just as much a people business as it is a road and bridge business. I think we have responsibilities both inside the loop and outside the loop to take care of the concerns of the people, both concerns. I'm very conservative. I work very hard, and I appreciate y'all letting me be here and appreciate the opportunity to speak. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Josh Rickman. Is it Rickman or Brickman?
Rickman.
Rickman.
Sorry, my name right.
That's all right.
Horrible, I apologize. My name is Josh Rickman. I'm running for Constable Precinct 4 of Henderson County on a Republican ticket. A little bit about me. I started my law enforcement career in 2006 at the Henderson County Sheriff's Office. I started out in jail, was sent to the police academy. While I was working, I did the academy at night. I was promoted sergeant in the jail where I overseen the trustee program and helped build the trustee program to get the trustees out in the community to help like commissioners and stuff like that. I was promoted to patrol deputy. I spent a lot of my time on night shift patrol on the east part of the county, which is considered, most precinct 4 and 3 on the east side of our county here. I went to day shift, worked day shift for a couple of years, and then promoted to CID, which is Criminal Investigation Division, where I worked property crimes, thefts, crimes against the person, including homicides and sexual assaults. After that, I was promoted to narcotic investigator, where I was the lead narcotic investigator for Bodie Hill House for several years after Kay Langford retired and went to be a constable. We concentrated on the entire county. We also did interdiction, investigations on state and federal levels, worked with DEA, FBI, some CIA guys. I like working narcotics, that's my forte. Not only as constable, you gotta do your court and serve your court's papers on the downtime. The constable should be out being seen in the area, patrolling the areas. I know that we got PDs here and sheriff deputies, but they can't be everywhere at the same time. So adding another person, especially at night on weekends, if I win, I plan on coming out working nights and weekends as well, not just 8 to 5 Monday through Friday job. I serve on the First Responder Rodeo Committee right now, which is the first year we're putting this on. It's where the Peace Officer Association and the Fire Chiefs Association has came together and took over the old Chamber of Commerce rodeo. The proceeds of the rodeo will help the volunteer fire departments within our county go into the new radio system that the county's going to. The radio's about $4,000. So I'm also the fire chief of the Baxter Fire Department. I have 14 vehicles in my fire department. So at $4,000 a pop, that's a lot of money. My fire department cannot afford it, we're not an ESD. So the sheriff come to us and we teamed up with him and hopefully we can help all the fire departments within the county with the new radio system. I'm also an investigator currently for the district attorney's office where I service 23 law enforcement agencies within the county. They can call me there at night. A lot of small agents call me when they have search warrant issues or something. I type a search warrant for them where I come out and help them serve. I decided to run because I've lived in Henderson County my whole life. I've worked in Henderson County, I've worked in Precinct 4 mainly. Want to be involved in the community and showing that the constable office can be an asset to the precinct. I appreciate y'all letting me come and speak tonight. I'd be willing to answer any questions.
I only have one. How many people are running for the precinct 4 constable's position?
There's two of us, me and
Two?
current constable, yes, sir.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank y'all very much.
And just as a reminder to both of you, we are having a town hall for the city, February the 29th from 2 to 4. So if you'll put that on your schedule and plan to be here, I think it'll be a nice opportunity for you to engage with some of the citizens. Okay, the next person on our open forum sign up is Sandy Atterbury. She's got a presentation on behalf of the community to make.
On behalf of the service to our community, for our Coffee City first responders, fire department, police department, EMS. I personally have had 2 where I've had to call, and they're right there. One broken ankle, and one a little boy that had he was overheated. And they're right there. They're always right there. And I just want to say thank you, Chris, Jim, and everybody on the fire department, EMS, police department.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Sandy. It brings us to item number 11, which is my mayor's report. As I said earlier, our town hall, we've got that scheduled February the 29th, 2020, from 2 to 4 p.m. Doug's done an outreach to the various candidates. I don't think to date we have had anybody really hard
We've not had any
confirmations.
returns, no.
Yeah, hard confirmations, but look forward to that. May 3rd, the elections will be held at Coffee City Community Center. This is an important an election. We don't tend to pay as much attention to these mid-year or mid-cycle elections as we should, but they are still very, very important. I wanted to go ahead and give the council and the public our preparation schedule for our fiscal year 2020-2021 budget preparation. March 20th has been designated as the final departmental budgets are going to be given to me. I've asked for them in March. April 20th will be set for our budget workshop. May 11th, 2020, we will finalize the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget. This can be extended if required, but our goal this year is to approve the budget ahead of the new budget cycle. Okay, that's our goal. Okay, so June the 8th, 2020, we'll have further budget finalization if required. Okay, so that's on our agenda as a city council to work on. Upcoming citywide events, Easter, April the 11th. This is going to be a joint community event with the police department, the fire department, the community church, the church at Lake Palestine, all getting together and providing. We had some leftovers, thank you to the police chief and the police department, on the Christmas dinner that we are going to cook out and have, welcome the community to engage with us. Allied Spring Cleanup is set, that's with Republic, April the 25th, 2020. Belts and Hoses, May 16th of 2020. National Night Out. We had such a good turnout and such a good response, we decided to put that on the calendar, event calendar again for this coming year. So that'll be October the 6th. It is the Texas National Night Out. Fall Festival, okay. Fall Festival, we've got scheduled for October the 31st, 2020, and then again our Christmas dinner, December the 19th. We want to get these, get the information out, get it on the website. At least we have dates that are set. So with that said, that concludes my mayor's report. So yes, sir.
Have we scheduled a budget meeting workshop?
Yes.
I heard you say budget final. Hey,
April 20th, budget workshop. Oh,
I didn't write that one down. It's not on my sheet.
no, because you're on the other minutes.
I didn't know you changed it.
No, that's the minutes for this one.
Oh,
Where's your paper?
it's over here somewhere.
These packets
I
get
think
bigger
Tony and I
and
get
bigger.
ours apart. Okay,
Okay, yeah, it's right here.
okay, okay.
Yeah, and that was on the front page.
All right, I apologize.
You're fine, you're fine. It's a lot to keep up with, trust me. Doug and I wrestle with this thing, wrestle it. So item number 12 is the EDC report. Jim, do you have anything? Do we have any updates?
No, ma'am.
Okay, no updates on some proposed business that we're undergoing, so no news is not good news. We're hoping to have news.
That's exactly correct. No news is not good news. We have a couple of projects in work, but we're not getting feedback from, in one case, the proposal to buy the Lake Palestine Business Center. In another case, the corner property down here. The Family Dollar is just going to stonewall it forever, I think. So we're looking at another approach.
Okay. All right, thank you, Jim.
Yes, ma'am.
Municipal court report, Ms. Shalina.
Okay, for the month of January, we had 198 new cases that were filed. 46 were dismissed after driver safety, 11 after deferred, and 6 after proof of insurance. We had 1 show cause hearing. We had 1 case appealed to county. We had a total of 50 warrants issued. We had 1 case that was partially satisfied by community service. 7 cases were satisfied by jail credit. And 2 cases were waived for indigency. That indigency total was $732. We had total fines for the month was $22,040. GHS collected $11,170. Jim and I have been going both ways today, so we didn't have a number for the in-house warrant collections, or we may have one, I just
have
didn't
one.
get it. You got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Jim's got it. So I'll get that transferred on here. And looks like we're gonna start doing a monthly transfer from the
Yes.
general fund instead of doing the quarter, or to the general fund from the municipal court account. Yeah, I think, we all talked about last week, I think be
Easier to
easier
track.
on Doug, so, I think that's all, but we got, warrant roundup will be coming up. GHS is sending out the notices, the February 27th and 28th. The actual arrest day is Saturday, March the 7th.
Okay.
So, well, there's a video, it's probably already up there on the court webpage, telling people how to go about taking care of their warrants and not to be afraid to, come to court, so, anyway.
Would you like to give an update on how it went with the new prosecutors? I
We,
don't
we
think
did, we have probably close to 30 cases, people that were here for pretrial. And we have 3 prosecutors working at the DA's office, just one at a time comes over. But, we started in about 5:30, I guess, and we were out of here about 8:45, so a little bit longer than normal, but we don't anticipate having that many at any future pretrials. We're gonna get on a schedule every 3 months. The prosecutor that came over was James Craig, and he did a really, really good job. We had quite a few appeals come out of the pretrial, not from him. There were people that had attorneys, and there's about 10 appeals in there, so. That's all I've got, if anybody has any questions.
I'm glad it went well.
Good.
Okay, any questions?
Mayor,
Police
council,
chief? Yeah.
in the month of January, we had 59 calls for service. This report is gonna change in the next couple of months. We're gonna add some more stuff. One of the things that we've added for this month is department training, the continuing education. And we did, as a department, 119 hours of training. We have 3 full-time officers, 11 reserve officers. I'm sorry, we did 288 or 281 hours of training. We had a total of 325 traffic stops, and of those traffic stops, 149 citations were issued, totaling 212 violations and 286 warnings. And as the judge alluded to earlier, we've started tracking a little bit differently our the warrants that are paid off, and Councilman Rutledge, you'll like this. Approximately $7,249 for January.
Wow. Now we're only, what, 25,000 behind budget?
I'm working on it.
I know you are, I know you are.
And that is one of the precepts on which we're building this warrant officer program. So I'm very excited when we can move forward with that.
Yeah, that's great.
Fire department report.
We had 30 calls for the month. As y'all can tell on y'all's next sheet, there's a better breakdown, but 3 building fires, 1 car fire, 17 medical, 1 lift assist, 1 assisted disabled, 2 good intents or canceled en routes, we'll call them, 4 MVAs and 1 unlocked car. Since we did our little reorganization, we're down to 12 members. You can see we're pretty busy coming up. Lufkin March, Henderson County Fire Chiefs is 3rd and 5th for the spring school and extrication school. The rodeo's the 24th and 25th. Easter's the 11th of April. We're going to do a hunt and cook city event. May 16th is belts and hoses. I've sent a deal over to Larry. Larry's done the proofing. I've got to do some typo changing. TDM is 18 through 21 May in San Antonio. The city needs to make some reservations and stuff like that for that. State Fireman Fire Marshals Conference is June 12th through 17th in Lubbock. We don't know about the 4th yet. TEACS is their annual school, 19 through 24. The fly-in, we don't know what the dates are on it. The Square Fair, it's my understanding UIL met last weekend, maybe the weekend before. We just haven't got the dates yet because that corresponds with Frankston's homecoming. You said December 19th for the city meal. We normally do that the 2nd Saturday. Is that changed?
No, that was me.
Okay, so is it the 12th?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I got to put out notices.
And it needs to be the 12th, right?
Yeah, well, we've just traditionally done it second Saturday, but I didn't know if y'all had changed it since.
Let me do some checking on that.
Okay.
There may have been a reason behind the change.
Okay,
But I'll double
Yeah,
check.
yeah, there might have been.
that's fine. We still do meals on every Wednesday. We're still restructuring, but we're getting there. And that's really about it. Jim White, who's the secretary for the State Fireman Fire Marshal Association, passed away on Friday. I'll be gone to his funeral on Wednesday. And that's about it. Any questions?
Okay, what is our new paper?
You've had that for a couple of months.
I've had it for a few months.
He just added red.
Yeah.
Just had it read, okay.
Actually, that's a city secretary setting you up. I've had it we started them almost a year ago. And then I guess the county came online 2 or 3 months ago. Most county departments, I think there's only 2, emergency response masters, emergency solutions. I know New York held out, but now they've joined. I talked with John T. on that, and they've joined. So, but sometimes y'all ask questions, and the only reason I started including this is because sometimes y'all ask questions. You're like, well, what kind of fire, you know, or what kind of vehicle fire, or what? This just gives you a little bit more information. It's. I don't think it gives you anything better than the front does, but it may give you a little set.
So you already have a question.
Yes.
Where is the rodeo gonna be held?
Y'all ever hear that Exxon deal where the driver said he could give the class and they let him do it? You ever do that?
No.
Well, I'm amazed at that question, so I'm gonna let my constituent in the back, it'd be at the rodeo grounds, but it's right there at the rodeo grounds, right?
Yes, sir, it's going to be at the Henderson County Fair Complex there on 31 in Athens, 31 East.
And everybody still comes in the front, right?
Yes, everybody can come to the front.
They've known to sneak in the back.
The fire departments, some of the fire departments will be out there parking people and everything, and I know we have a concert. Wesley Pruitt's going to be there this Saturday night after the rodeo. I just got an email a while ago, possibly going to be booking somebody for Friday night, but it has not been confirmed at this moment.
This is a new endeavor, and I think this year it's 80% fire and 20% law, and then I think the percentages will change till we get to 50-50, I think.
Yes, Sheriff Hillhouse agreed to let the fire service have 80% of the proceeds this year to help with the radios. That's the main deal. And then next year, we'll stay in cahoots with each other, and then the Peace Officers Association will get 80%. And we'll keep working like that until we eventually get 50-50.
Do they actually have booths and stuff where there's vendors selling stuff, or?
Yes, so there are gonna be vendors there. We've been going out selling sponsorships it's always been the Chamber of Athens Rodeo. The Chambers dropped the rodeo, didn't wanna do it, so we picked it up and opened it up countywide. So we'll have businesses from Chandler, Brownsboro to Gunboro, 7 Points, Kemp, Maybank, and all in between. Right now, the Peace Officers Association put up $2,500, and the Fire Chief Association put up $2,500. So we started with $5,000. I think we're at $61,000 at this point. So we have,
That's great.
from paying our PRCA rodeo dues and booking a stock contractor, and right now we're making money now. We've earned our money back, and now we're making money. So I'm hoping this rodeo will be big. We got a kids center coming. The chamber, or the Go Texan, will still be putting on their barbecue cook-off and crawfish bowl and stuff like that. But we'll have a kids center, bounce houses and stuff like that for the kids to be there. We got a good comedy act coming. We've already booked him, and matter of fact, the Peace Officers Association has a Facebook page. You can go to the First Responder Rodeo. It'll pop up, and you can see Sheriff Hillhouse actually on Longhorn talking about the rodeo. That's going to be our act. He's a real good guy. The animals are smart. It's going to be a great show, and we got some good cowboys coming.
Have you been disseminating information to the various cities?
Well, what we do is, the people that selling the ads and stuff has been going to different cities and businesses, and then as the Peace Officer Association meets, we tell them what we need, and people volunteer. We got different committees we're establishing, along with the Fire Chief Association. We bring it up every Fire Chief Association meeting. and then we get committees going, and we're in the process of building all the committees right now.
Okay, okay.
That's great.
What's the times and the cost?
I'll see my grandkids
Sir?
being there.
Times and cost.
The rodeo will probably start about 7:30, and the cost, I think we said, $10 at the, in advance and $12 at the gate, I believe, or something like that.
Where you get them in advance?
Boot Barn has tickets, I think Elder Dodge has tickets, I gotta talk with Chandler still, Chief Kalen with Chandler PD, I think he's, maybe get some tickets that way. We haven't put tickets out just yet,
Okay,
and we're also gonna try to do tickets online too. So that has to be approved, we got a meeting coming up for that, to get that finalized on the online part.
all
And you
right.
can come ahead and eat crawfish.
Yeah.
Hey, crawfish, I will be there. I will be there. All right, thank you guys so much.
Bad for my gout.
Take the Alpure.
Well, I do every day.
All right, the next item on the agenda is to consider and act upon naming the mayor as the public information officer for the city. Doug and I have had quite a conversation about this item right here. So there is a need for the city to have a named public information officer. So we need to consider an act upon it.
I would make a motion that we make the mayor, we give her that honor of being the public information officer.
Now, Edward, that didn't take you a very long time to speak up. Okay, we've had a motion and we've had a second. All in favor? Motion carried. All right, next item on the agenda is to consider and act upon renewing the service agreement with Joe Riggles. Is it Riggles?
I don't know yet.
Riggles? Okay. You have the renewal notification in your packet.
Thanks.
There are no changes, right, Doug? It's just a service agreement that we've entered into with them, or have been into.
I'd like to make a note on here.
Okay.
We've been paying $284.13 a year. What they do is they supply us with the chlorine and service and maintenance throughout the year. I still need to double check, but I believe that we probably got the chlorine tablets, enough of those from previous years that weren't used, I guess. But we may be able to do it for the $180, whatever it is, $180 instead of the $284.
So we don't know that one way or the other.
I haven't counted them yet, sir. No.
Well, Doug's commented and have done it, and it's the same rate as we had before. I have no objection, so I'll make a motion that we carry on with Joy Ridley's septic service.
Do we have a second?
Are you talking about 180 or the two?
I was saying that our honorable secretary is going to check into that, and based on what he finds,
Good.
go to town. And that's an official motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, the motion carried. We accept that. The next item on the agenda is, our city attorney was Ron Stutes, okay, and he was with a different law firm. He notified me that he is no longer with that law firm and has sent out another interest letter for us to consider. He would still like for us, if the council so desires, to be our city attorney. He has reduced his charges. Okay, he had been charging $225 an hour for the general representation and $150 an hour for prosecutions. He will reduce the charge to $200 per hour. I think that's a benefit to the city. Since I've been mayor, I've had very limited interaction with him, but I don't see any qualms with him. The council may have more history than I do.
I've had for 7 or 8 years worked with Ron on different things through the annexations and other issues. He is very, very sharp. I don't know anything about William, Wilson, Robinson, and Cornelius as far as the firm itself, but I've got to think if he moved over there, it's got to be pretty reputable.
There's still a specialty in municipal law, is that correct?
Yes. Oh, yes.
So municipal law specialty attorney, senator?
Yeah.
Well, the reason we went with him a long time ago is before we were going with a flat retainer rate of $5 grand plus whatever was added on top of that, and we went with these people because they were obviously the more economical thing, and according to Phil,
Much better, much better.
much better, and the representation has been more, instead of having a criminal attorney, we now have a municipal attorney. Here's what we need. We need a municipal attorney, so based on that little rambling, I'd like to make a motion.
Thank you, Dawn, for that information.
And I'll second. I know him.
He didn't get to make it.
You haven't made it yet.
But
Oh.
you did pretty good there.
Yes, yeah, well, let me try it
I thought
again
he was
here.
done.
I was given a new rule today that for every item I put on the agenda, I had to remove 12.
I would like to make a motion that we consider an act upon retaining Ron Stutes with Wilson, Robertson, and Cornelius as the city attorney.
I will second. Thank you, Ron.
All in favor?
Uh,
Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, now, item number 19 is to consider and act upon Lake Palestine Resort's revised proposal. The original proposal was delivered to the EDC and was approved by the EDC and rejected by the council. So Larry has made an amendment to this proposal. Jim Beggarly did some work on behalf of making sure that we were legal in presenting this again, and according to TML, as long as the presentation or the revised proposal didn't exceed what the EDC had approved, we could just move forward with presenting it to the council to see if we can get approval. So, who would like to speak on behalf of?
Larry, you're up.
You can say sit down if you want to, Larry. I know how it
That's
feels.
all right. That's all right. I need to stand once in a while.
Oh, thank you.
I may have to say.
Yeah.
I've been with the EDC since its inception, and it's always been our understanding that there's certain rules we have to follow, there's certain things we have to do, that as long as we followed those, our main objective, one of our main objectives, is to bring people into this area. And that means the whole area here. Our issue is Coffee City, obviously, but the main attraction in this area is the lake. We can't, that's just the way it is. But as long as we are bringing people into this area, they will spend money. We've proven that. We've brought people into this area before. They will spend money, and our other objective is to put heads in beds. The proposal that we have made does both. It brings in bringing a lot of people. They will spend money. We know that. And it does put heads in beds. We have two places where they will put heads in beds. One's Lake Palestine Resort, and the other is the motel right here within the city. So that's the main objective, and that's what it will do. Okay? It has always been our understanding that as long as EDC met those requirements and was within the bounds of what we had to do, yes, the council always had to know what was going on. They had to approve it, and we understood that, but with previous mayors, we were always told that that would be more, as long as it met the requirements, it would most always be approved, because it was the opportunity to let the council know what we were doing, and that's what it was. But anyway, we've revised it a little bit, maybe to make it easier.
But our goal here is to bring a lot of people into this area. We know it will work. In the past, we have proven that people that we do bring into the area for the first time love it. They've never been to this lake. They've never been in this area. And they come back many, many times. It's not a one-time deal. They come back, and they come back, and they come back. Every time they do, they spend money.
Okay. The main changes was the removal of the $10,000 cap from the original proposal, and also to limit and only have 2 requirements for payouts for the EDC. 20 to 75 votes would be a flat $300, which would go towards the tournament payout, would be an additional incentive for tournaments, could possibly sway them to come here. I spoke with Larry at length on this. And then over 75 votes to have a $500 one-time payout. Well, not one time, but you know, any of these tournaments that he would have that met this criteria would be that the city, the EDC would contribute the $500 toward the prize money.
And that's the key, is that it all goes to the prize money.
The incentive all goes to the prize money. Jim, you had some comments that you had proposed on this to shed a little bit more light on, because one of the things we're trying to do as a city is make sure that the people's money is well spent, okay, the tax dollars is well spent, and that as far as apples to apples, we have done better in narrowing and quantifying, okay, the expenditures of the EDC as well as the city. So that's very important to the council and to me, because I think when we have transparency and we can show our citizens that we are doing our due diligence in regards to this. So Larry, would you please?
Jim.
Jim, I'm sorry.
That's right. Larry, this is Jim.
No kidding.
One of us has, one of the things that I appreciated about this particular proposal from Larry, he's been paying attention the last couple of years. The city council wants to know where the money went.
Yes.
They want to, and from the beginning here, one of the inclusions in this proposal is direct feedback from the, in this case, Lake Palestine Resort, feedback saying, okay, who got it and why? Okay, how many boats, how many rooms, where were they, what was the club and all that, and that all of the money that was dedicated to the project went into the prize fund only. It didn't go to any other source or any other areas. So the other thing that I looked at was, well, what are we getting out of it? Well, as Larry said, what we're getting out of it is we're getting people here to see this place, bass clubs here to see this area, that the club or members of the club may not have been here before. So we're looking at the possibility, the very great possibility of them liking it and coming back again. In our review, Larry and I talking about it together, in our review of this, we looked at a couple of projects that we've had in the past that spent at least this much money and more on advertising. We attempted to do some advertising through some slick magazines, local area scene, in Tyler type things. The problem with those is we spend money and we don't know if anybody came. At least here, they were here. We spent money on them, they were here. So the possibilities are much greater than coming back. We know that once they're here, they will spend some money. They'll buy some soda water, they'll buy some beer, they'll go down here to the Family Dollar, all of which contribute to the sales tax base for the city.
Thank you. Now, we will get a report back from you. If this passes, we will get a report back from you regarding your residency or occupancy.
Oh, absolutely.
In the, and are
We
you
have-
going to be the one to maybe obtain this information also from the motor inn up here as well? I mean, are you gonna be in communication with him?
I'm gonna be in communication with him. Probably we will still get the information from the tournament director because he knows where his people are staying. So
Okay.
I really don't need a whole lot of communication with the owner there. But one thing I forgot to bring in, as we speak tonight, I have 3 tournaments that have never been on this lake before, that are contemplating coming here. And I've held them off a little bit, but with this approval, I can guarantee you they'll come here.
How many boats?
Can't tell you on one of them, I know one of them's about 45 to 60, the other one's over 30, the third one I'm not sure about.
Well, I have a question. How do the clubs know we're giving this money towards their prizes?
We're gonna advertise it.
And how?
Oh, there's several tournament, don't wanna get ahead of myself here, but there's at least 3 different, I'm not a computer person or a email person or any of that, but there are 3 different, like Facebook and that, there's 3 different areas that go directly to all of the tournaments, okay? Or a huge amount of the tournaments. I plan on getting notices out to every one of them, as many as I can. The other thing is, I think I only have to do about 2 or 3 of them, and everybody's gonna know it anyway. But we are gonna advertise it. We're gonna put it out everywhere.
Could you put up notices like at Porter's or at your place that
Yes,
each
we do.
tournament?
Yes, we do. We certainly do. I have one gentleman, I have one person that works for me, that's all he does is tournaments. He does the promotion, he does all the, he set them up, he makes all the reservations. He works for me and that's what he does. That's his job, is to promote tournaments, make sure they're all taken care of when they're here. He'll be in charge of getting all this information. Not that I won't be there with him, but I mean, but I've got somebody besides me that's his job is tournaments, promoting tournaments.
And I have one clarification. Were you meaning general advertising of the fishing tournament or an advertising that specifies that Coffee City is?
We want the fishermen to know that the city was donating.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
I just wanted to make
I'm
sure
sorry,
you
I
understood
didn't,
that.
I hope I didn't
Yeah.
say anything wrong there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're not taking any credit at all for the payout here. This is done by.
Where does their other, they're not bringing in 40 boats for $300 payout.
Oh, no.
Where does the rest of the money come from?
Well, wherever they've ever, whatever they do to generate their own money, but an extra $300 is the difference between coming and not coming a lot. I mean, that's a lot of money. Now, if you're talking about 500-600 boats, no, it's not a lot of money at all. And that's why we raised the price here over 75 boats, because $300 that's nothing. When you get over 75 boats, you're talking about a $10,000 payout, you're talking about.
Now, you're talking $2, $3 a boat.
And we understand that. And I'm not sure that this, on the big boats, will make a huge difference. I don't know that. On the small to medium-sized tournaments, I can tell you it'll make a big difference.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
So I noticed
I'll get my
Jim
turn.
had a, were you gonna say something, Jim?
Oh, I was just gonna be specific on one of the, you can't call them a social medium, a fisherman's medium.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say, fisherman's medium.
You can go to a lot of blogs and see where tournaments are at.
We've got a
Yeah.
couple of, the big one, for example, and his man knows about it, he and I have talked about it, is the Bass Tournament Finder. Okay, and it's multi-state, but obviously in Texas it's got a bunch. But that's one of the ones that need to be contacted and informed.
Okay.
Phil?
First, Larry, let me say Jim did a fantastic job with his presentation the other night. Unfortunately, you couldn't be here and there were questions that we had specifically for you. And it's, you know, from my standpoint, trust me, it's nothing personal, because I've always respected you and your business and what you're doing, so.
That's fine.
The, you know, I've been known as the budget pig. You know, I watched the dollars, because I was here when, and you remember, you saw it, the city spent almost 3 times what we spend a month now. They've wasted it as fast as they could. And so that makes me a little sensitive when we come to talking about city money, EDC money. It all comes out of the same hopper. If you look at it from a strictly business standpoint, we get a 0.25% on the room sales tax for room sales. $300, you gotta do $120,000 in additional sales to just break even with that. And I have trouble believing that, okay? But the question is, we're only losing $300, not $120,000.
That's correct. But the point is it bringing people back and back and back, and it doesn't.
I've fished a lot of tournaments in my life. I mean, there were some lakes, you're right, that I would never go back to. I can think of one over here by Corsicana, because when you can hit a sandbar in the middle of the lake where you can't see the bank, you have to get out of the boat, crawl out of the boat to pull yourself off of it, you know.
I actually did some, since you're talking money and where that goes, I actually did some sample computations involving some hypothetical tournament that had 30 boats, for example. 30 boats, of those 30 boats, 30 teams, if 2/3 of them, 20, stayed in either the resort or the motor inn here, and then I also hypothesized that they would buy 1 6-pack of soda and 1 6-pack of beer apiece while they're here. If they stayed for only one night, and I used the figures of the 7% hotel occupancy tax for $70 room, and I used the figures of $6 for a 6-pack of soda, et cetera, $9 for beer, and all that, it would end up costing the city and $300.
You've also got to remember, we get no sales tax off of him.
That's true. That's absolutely true. But you get the sales tax off the beer and the soda.
Not if he sells them.
I don't, I mean, I'm not
No, but
either way, but
if
most
they
of
buy
that
them
goes
over
through
here,
Fat Dogs.
Fat Dogs, Family Dollar, Shamrock Gas Station, Dollar General, if they do over there, okay, while they're here. I understand that. But ran those numbers together. That tournament would end up costing the city about $255.
I have
How
another
many
question.
tournaments do you already have booked for this year? Just around
I
number.
think 10 already. And that's way more than we normally have at this time.
Really?
Oh, yeah, at this early stage. We just booked 3 more today.
We always booked about 6 months in advance, that's the reason I asked.
Yeah. And that's why in another month, we'll really start hitting them. But for us to have that many at this time of the year, at first part of February, is a little unusual.
Well, I know the Fishers of Men is not coming here this year. I think it's going to Lake Tyler, isn't it?
That I don't know, sir.
I think, because I looked
Really?
a while back, and
Okay, that I don't
because I
know.
typically get to go fishing the day they're here, and I can't find a spot to sit. So,
But we do have some new tournaments coming in this year that I know of.
what else? I was gonna ask something else.
I wanted to know, the money, will it be designated for the first 3 places in a tournament? I don't want people to think 30 boats are gonna get money. It's
Oh, no,
only the
no,
first
it's,
2 or 3
in
places.
fact, the way I had it laid out, I could do it either way, but I was trying to promote it as an additional to the first prize.
First prize.
Yeah, but if the tournament director would rather have it split 2 or 3 ways, I have no problem with that, but I'm gonna
Let them do
promote
that.
it. I'm gonna promote it as, hey, we will add to your first prize. But if the tournament director wants to do it slightly different than that, I would have no problem with it.
So basically, based on what you just said, if you already got 10 tournaments booked, probably we've already spent $3 grand. And
Probably.
the city has spent $0 on tournaments the last 2 years, as you're well aware.
That's right.
Only the Belts and Hoses tournament that the city sponsors. Also, the new proposal, which is better from the standpoint of the numbers being lower, but your old proposal had a top end of 10,000. This proposal could be 20,000.
Oh, God,
If
I'd
they-
love to. We would love to have that.
Yeah, but we're not gonna do that.
No, I understand that, let's face it. That's bringing people in, that's really bringing people in.
Well, if you do 20 tournaments a year,
Yeah,
that's 6,000.
then we do 20 to 25.
Yeah, okay, so, I guess that's my point.
Well, how many tournaments? I mean, the council, I guess, at this point could say either a monetary cap on it of less than, because the problem seemed to be last time that it was the $10,000, we could go up to $10,000 on this. So either we can cap the number of tournaments we're going to support, or we can cap the dollars.
We don't want to do that. I think that's the one thing we don't want to do is really to cap either one, to be honest with you, because once we get this out and we start bringing new people in, the last thing in the world we want to do is have to tell somebody, hey, we can't do you.
That can't.
So you've been doing 25 tournaments a year.
Not every year.
Historically, and you
Not every
don't,
year.
I mean, so is that gonna go up with this money?
You bet it's gonna go up.
And
I
how
promise you it's going up.
How do we track that? You say we're bringing a lot of money to the city. How do we track that? We don't know whether Dollar General sales go up. We don't know whether, I mean, I worked, as you know, you had a big biker rally where there was supposed to be a couple of hundred bikes there. I worked a beer booth all day long out there.
Yeah.
I sold 2 beers.
Yeah, I know.
All right, that's,
So that's my concern. They all brought their own
Tournaments,
stuff.
here's the thing, the tournaments don't come to the same lakes every year.
I know.
And that's the whole point we're making here, is that we'll go out and pick up a lot of tournaments this year with this proposal that have never been on our lake, that have never been here. That's what we're trying to do.
I would like to say that if we have the diligence behind and we're sincere and serious about quantifying, you know, the increase in sales tax or whatever, Sandy, you know, we would definitely need somebody that's going to pick that up and say, I'm going to quantify it, okay, or it's going to be quantified. Now, to me, the question to the council is, I don't have an objection to his proposal. If we want to, I know that you've said you don't want to limit it, okay?
But his last proposal, he put a $10,000 cap on it.
Yes, but that was an issue for some, for $10,000.
Well, if we don't get the tournaments, we wouldn't spend that much money. I'm just trying to keep it up here to where I don't have to tell somebody down the road, hey, we can't do anymore. That would be a terrible thing to have to do. And once we get this going, we wanna make sure this year that everybody, if we can attract new tournaments, that's what we wanna do. We don't wanna have to tell one down the road that, well, we ran out of money last week.
Well, and based on prior years, okay, and prior expenditures of the EDC towards things like this, I would not be opposed to this proposal because it is a limit. Okay,
No, there is no limit.
the onus,
You had us take the limit out.
Yes,
There is no limit on
there
it.
is no limit.
We had a limit on it to begin with, and y'all didn't like that.
I understand.
We didn't like
I'm
the
talking-
value of the limit.
We didn't like the value, but I'm saying the limit's $300. If the tournament never materializes, the EDC is not out any money.
Right.
And if he has 40 tournaments, the EDC's up $12,000.
Right. And we haven't been able to quantify that, I can
But
see.
that's a lot of people coming into this area. Which is what
Okay.
our job is.
Okay, well,
Who will keep up with the number of boats that actually fish the tournament? Because I know a lot of tournaments have a lot of I'll be there, I'll be there, I'll be there, and then
No,
they don't show up.
we'll count the boats.
Okay.
Tournament director does a good job of that.
Yeah, oh yeah, we'll know what we're doing. Believe me, we're not here to give out money. I mean, they have to follow the rules. And they will know that before they ever come.
okay. Well, thank you, Larry, for re-proposing, okay, to the council. Now, council, I think we've talked about it enough, so it's time to make a decision.
No, we haven't talked about it
Well, Dawn, would you like to talk about it some more?
enough. Sure, something, give me my 3 minutes.
Okay, have your 3 minutes.
Well, first off, you have to realize who's sitting at this table here. We have, there's 6 of us here. You're the tie-breaking vote. But if you look out in the audience and you look at the EDC members, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 6 EDC members here also. So the EDC is obviously here in full support of trying to do things. Larry is a founding member, president in the past. Jim is a president. I had a very short time as president also. But the one thing that's interesting about this, and we've had budgets in the past, budgeting for bass tournaments. The last one we budgeted money for past tournaments. We really had a lot of difficulty on the flipping and flying issue on this thing, because we've had support from the council, and then we've had no support from the council. We've put it in the budget, and we've taken it out of the budget. And so what I'm saying is what Larry says is absolutely true. It is in our charter as far as the EDC goes, and this is beds and heads and bringing things to the city and all of that. We've supported it in the past. But this is a happy story, man. Look, we're all here together, great numbers of us, and we all seem to be concerned about it. You seem to be concerned about the number, and nobody's going to argue with you, Phil, that it's not going to bring the return that you're saying it's going to be absolutely impossible. Removing the limit should be of some particular concern, because the EDC only has, we make out like we got a big bank load of money. We really don't. We have a set amount of money, and we always have projects, and a project that's the major moving forward of Coffee City seems to be the EDC fund, and using those funds to move projects forward. So, and I'm gonna end this right now. Trust me. If we're gonna do the fishing tournaments, in my opinion, I think we budgeted for a certain amount. We probably should have some kind of limit because it was removed. And I know Larry said he didn't want it removed because that's basically gonna limit our opportunities for beds and heads. But we have other things to do. We don't yet, but I still have high hopes of moving something big forward for Coffee City that's gonna be a real big draw. And so if we're gonna do this thing, and it was killed last time, that's another amazing thing about this. It got killed last time, and here we are talking about it again. And you said we hadn't discussed it? Well, here I go, man, I'm discussing it. So if we're gonna do it, in my humble opinion, whether you believe that or not, I think there should be some particular kind of limit on that, because I think the funds could be used for, everybody has projects, Phil. The mayor has projects that she wants, and everybody else, and the fire department has projects. Everybody has projects, and the EDC is the source of funds for those particular projects. And so, this was put in our budget for the thing, so.
It was put in the EDC budget.
That is correct, and the EDC, we're a separate function, thank you for bringing that forth also, is the EDC is completely separate from the city council. The fact that we're all here, man. Look, the entire EDC's here. Look, the entire council's here. We all seem to care. And we're all participating, and so we ought to come to some kind of middle ground on this thing. Either we don't want it, or we want it. But the thing is, on our past, we've been told, do it, and then we've been told not to do it. And then we've been jerked back and forth just terribly. And so how are you voting, Don? I'm gonna let one of you guys take the handle on this. I've said my piece. Thank you for your time.
I have another question. How many tournaments between 45 and 75 boats do you have a year? I know there's very few that are 100.
There's not gonna be, but, well, 45, probably half of the tournaments we get will be in that category. But again, that's what we're doing now, is trying to go after more of those. If we had the $10,000 budget, that limit, I really don't think we'll get that high this year, but at least it keeps us where we're not telling somebody we can't do it. That's what I don't like doing. I don't like putting this out and then having to tell somebody, well, we ran out of money. That don't make sense. But I think with that limit, if we have to put a limit on it, if we could get that limit, I really don't think we'll go, get to it quite that much. We're not here to spend money, just to go to the limit. We're trying to bring people in to the area. That's all we're trying to do.
Shall I give you, what we have spent through the last few years, now last year nothing, except belts and hoses. We spent $3,000 one year, we spent $1,000 another year. This is just on fishing tournaments, and another $2,000. That's all we've spent. The most we've spent is the belts and hoses.
The city sponsors that too, and that goes to our fire department,
That's
police
right,
department.
that's
That's
right,
correct.
right.
If we
But-
want to dump all of it into that, let's go for that.
Yeah, but the most we have spent over the years, at 1 year, and our year goes from January to December, was $3 grand, just for fishing tournaments. That was it.
At the time, that was considered an acceptable
Oh,
amount.
yes, it was. And then look at the sales tax that brought in.
How do you look at it?
What you give me, what I get the sales tax each month, what I am given, I can go from 4,000, 5,000, down to
There's a
2,000.
confidentiality report that she can get from the.
According to the
state.
TTC magazine, to answer your question, Phil, if the TTC magazine, in one of their past issues, it said that, you need to set up a formal thing where every particular facility ain't gonna happen. It's gonna be a guess.
Well, I'm not,
That's the way they said to do it. According to this magazine, they said that that's the way to do it. You gotta make every store accountable, and then you need basically to do a person-by-person survey.
You're not gonna get Fat Dogs and
I
Dollar
agree with you
General,
100%,
and
ain't
those
gonna happen.
guys, their corporate offices are not gonna let them
Darn
give
tootin'.
out those
You're right.
sales numbers.
In other words, they ain't gonna.
But our
tax
job is
that
to bring people to this area. That's
Okay.
what we're doing.
okay, let's,
They're on our report though.
okay.
If somebody make a
I-
motion if they want to.
I would.
But I have a question before we
Okay.
make a motion. But I'm new on the block, and I'm not familiar with the tournament, so to speak. And it seems like we have put on this tournament or these tournaments
for years and years and years. My question is, has putting on these tournaments benefited Coffee City in the past
Sales tax.
financially? Has it benefited Coffee City tremendously? I'm not gonna say tremendously, but advantageously through the sales tax? Has it brought people in, which he continuously say that he wants to bring people in? Has the tournaments brought people in to this area, and they have remained here in this area, or they have brought in businesses in this area that has generated revenue for the city? And I'm just asking for.
That's the problem I have. I don't know, and there's no way that I can figure out to prove it.
It's hard to quantify.
Well, we know they spent money when they were here.
It's not hard, yeah, yeah. I would like to see, the council come to some kind of conclusion. I do not think that the EDC, every piece of money that we spend as far as the EDC goes is necessarily going to be an apples to apples comparison on bringing revenue into the city. The purpose is to get people in, to see the community, be a part of the community, spend time on the lake. Hopefully they're spending it in our community. I see that as a plus, okay? The council has an option to now either go back and set a limit, you know, and make an amendment, make a proposal, an alternative proposal, one that the council feels good about, or just let it die.
Could we do this for a 2-year period and see how it works?
I would love to see that. Let's see how it works.
Yes.
Why 2 years? Why not 1 year?
Okay, 1 year.
There's no reason to lock ourselves in for 2 years.
1 year.
You can make a motion.
You can put a cap on that, Riley?
A cap, you mean like 10,000?
It's your motion. I'm not saying nothing.
I'd just like to see no limit on a 1 year period to see what it happens. See what happens. If it goes way above 10,000 or something, we can change it next year.
Yeah, and I don't think it will. I mean, but that's a great, I appreciate that.
Are you making a motion? Right?
Yes, I'll do. I'll make a motion that we pass this with a 1 year time limit. And at the end of that time, reevaluate it, see if it's doing the city any good, if not.
That makes all sorts of sense.
Do we have a second? Okay, all in favor?
It was the second, I'm sorry.
Edward here. All in favor?
We're gonna see. I think we'll put an end to this.
3 takes of whether we vote against it or not.
Okay, so we have 2 abstains or 2 noes?
Since I have been pulled every way and the horses about ripped me to pieces, I'm gonna abstain also.
Okay, you abstaining, Mark?
Yes.
Okay, 2 abstains, 3 fours, motion carries. Okay, we will, go forward with Larry on a 1 year time limit, okay, to see how this goes with the reevaluation period. I would request that the EDC is very diligent in getting the information that is required or that would support moving forward. Okay? Okay, thank y'all. Okay, now we've got a budget review item, number 20 for the second quarter of our fiscal year that we are currently in, 2019 to 2020. Let me go over this. It's this packet, okay, so you can understand what you see in this budget review was the final budget that was adopted, the monthly average that was calculated for the year. And then you'll see October, November, and December. Then you will see a 6-month income and expense total there. That takes into consideration the prior quarter. And it shows, so we are right at half a year. The next column is the quarterly monthly average. That is just based on these 3 months, October, November, December. And then if, on that final column, if we were to continue on this same course, under the quarterly monthly average, this is where our projections would end up for the year.
But that's just based on second quarter, not the whole 6 months.
No, that's just based on second
So
quarter.
really, if you multiply the 6-month column by 2,
Yeah.
you'll have a closer comparison
Yeah.
to the budget overall.
Overall. Right. And I should have done that.
Well, that's the way I do it, so.
Okay. All right. If there needs to be any adjustments or considerations.
The biggest one is obviously the warrant collection at this point. So, but those 7,000 in there right now, that helps that a ton. And the expenses are great. There's 622 plus a 720 budget on expenses. Wow. And I didn't really see anything that looked out of sorts there.
We are working, Doug and I and Shalina and all the departments are working on making sure that we can easily disseminate information regarding each revenue center. Revenue center is the department, and contrast their income and expenses throughout the year and provide for a better information going forward to create a budget. And knowing our exact expenditures. Doug, do you have anything, any comments?
I was just gonna, and I may be speaking out of turn here, we'll see here. Something Phil said, if you'll look at the 6th column over, that's the 6-month income and expense for this year. So that is the total year, just, that's, if you double it out. I think that's the same thing you say it.
Yeah, that's the same thing that you're saying.
So as it stands, on most of the stuff, we're well within our under budget.
Yes. Which we know that can change in a hurry.
Well, it can, but we also have the available funds balance that have not been touched.
And these
That
were
are sitting out
rollovers,
there.
and these were rollovers
And
from
the
the prior
rollovers from
year.
last year, and there are certain projects that probably do need to be attempted here that would use that in the future, but this is not the need to bring those in.
Right. We'll address those in our budget workshop.
I think I would make a motion that we not change anything in the budget as it stands now.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Motion carried. All right, we had item 21, if there were any changes to consider and act upon those changes, there were none. Okay, item number 22 is adjournment.
I would make a motion that we adjourn.
You want to second it? All in favor? Good meeting, guys.